What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. As you are watching this, it is September 2nd, 2025. We are recording this on Monday, September 1st at 12:30 p.m. on the left coast. Just so you know, it's Labor Day. This is what we do for you people. These are the sacrifices we make. We still show up on Labor Day just for you guys. That's how much you mean to us. This is Skews. I'm Trey, and that's Mark.
Yeah,
How was your weekend, Mark?
It was fine. I was like, funny. What we do for you guys, we clock in for a super difficult hour running our mouths.
Talking, yes.
Weekend was good. Had a fun weekend thinking about how we have our second consecutive Schrodinger's president who's both alive and dead, apparently.
Right.
Everyone's just joking about Trump being dead. Like it's funny. Last week we were joking that if Trump died, they just wouldn't tell us for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden he just wasn't seen or heard from for like 5 straight days.
Right.
Which is weird for him.
And then they started putting out pictures of him and stuff, and then but people online started saying, like, you know, oh, these are old pictures or whatever. Like this.
Yeah.
Like, people started looking at them and they were like, this is actually from, you know, whatever, a previous
Trump
stuff.
posted, yeah. The White House posted a photo of Trump golfing with John Gruden. Maybe it's real, but Trump also golfed with John Gruden last weekend, and they wore the same shirts.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, it's like there's a video going around of like someone throwing stuff out the windows of the White House right now. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, the White House windows are bulletproof and they don't open. So I don't know I hate doing this stupid criminology bullshit, but something weird is happening and no one is really even trying to explain it. And the weirdest response to me was like the MAGA influencers, right? Because like everyone, like I don't think anyone actually thinks that Trump is dead, right? But like because everyone's involved in a psyop or info war all the time, they see themselves as foot soldiers in this shit. MAGA people started posting clearly fake photos to like just literally saying "suck it, libs," and there's a picture of Trump golfing. Except he's supposed to be golfing in Virginia, but there are palm trees on the course.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, what do you think you're accomplishing?
Yeah, I don't know. Just lib owning, you know, the most important thing in any of their lives. But do you? I definitely don't think that Trump is dead. But do you think that something is up with him? Like he fell and his face looks all fucked up, or something, like some old person shit that he can't be seen in public. But all this bullshit has started, so they got to like try to act like he's fine, but he's not fine, even though he isn't dead, or something like that. Or
I don't remember a day where he didn't spend at least like 3 hours rambling at the press. It's like his favorite thing to do, and he hasn't done it in like 5 or 6 days. Right. Now he might give a 3-hour press conference tonight, and we're absolutely wrong. But it's like the funniest possibility is that like he had a stroke, but it did a reverse Fetterman, so now they won't let him talk because he's super woke now.
Yeah, that would be hilarious because apparently that does. I don't know. I've read anecdotal stories and Reddit comments and stuff like that of people having. It's like, yeah, my aunt was the nastiest person in our family, and she had a stroke, and now she's a total sweetheart. You know, or whatever. like apparently it can go either way, I guess. But man, what a fucking bailout from the universe that would be.
The only thing the White House is more plugged into like the internet rumor mill than any other organization on the planet, right? Outside of me and Corey. Mm-hmm. All right, and so like Trump posted on Truth, he said never felt better, and I was like, okay, he's definitely fucking dead. It doesn't make any. All this is just so deeply weird. The only like true social post that made me think he's it's definitely him is like. There's a long post about how Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else cares about stuff that petty. And the only other reason I think he's definitely alive is like the escalated trade war with India, like raised tariffs because Narendra Modi won't like nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize. Like no one else cares about shit like that. So like, I don't know, man. It's so fucking fun. It is funny though. Like if like JD gave his speech, his interview last week where he said he's perfectly ready to take over, and like. He'd be our first millennial president after getting 0 Gen X presidents. We've had like a string of like, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever straight boomer presidents.
Mm-hmm.
And then we skip over Gen Z straight to millennials. It's like we have 5 straight Mr. Burnses, now we go to Bart.
Yeah.
It's just very funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get into it. But first, of course, I've got the announcements as always. If you want to see me do comedy live and in person, go to TreyCrowder.com and check out my upcoming tour dates. The next ones are in upstate New York and Hartford, Connecticut. After that, most of the cities in Ohio. Then we got Virginia, Milwaukee, Madison, Dallas, Oklahoma City, Nashville, I think, are the rest of the dates for this year. But there's already some for 26 posted as well. Go to TreyCrowder.com. You can also find a link there to my last special, Trash Daddy. Check that out on YouTube. If you want some good news in your life, you can, for a change of pace, you can check out producer Matt's audio exclusive offering, Good Skews. So that means it's on the podcast version of this show. So you go to our podcast feed on whatever podcast app you use, or if you don't use, but you have one on your phone, go to that and go to our feed, and you will see Good Skews on there, and check that out. And lastly, if you want to support this particular program and get some more of it, you can sign up on Patreon. You go to weeklyskews.com/more or search for my name on Patreon. Either way, you'll find it. $5 a month gets you access to 2 full-length bonus episodes, and we also do Q&A sometimes as well. It's just this show, but more of it. So support us and get some more skews in your life in the process. Now, as for the episode today, it's not just about Trump's health. There's, dare I say, fucky stuff going on with health and healthcare in general in this country, which makes sense considering the brain-eating lunatic at the top of it. RFK Jr.'s got some wild thoughts, believe it or not. We'll get into those a little later, but first we begin with the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's DD, Pentagon officials who don't realize that hell hath no fury, like a psychic woman scorned.
If you're preying on his downfall, here are some dates you might want to pay attention to. As I said in my last video, Mercury is going retrograde in Donald Trump's 12th house in conjunction with Pluto. Mercury is the planet of information. When it's retrograde, we go back in time.
Okay.
Pluto.
I just want you guys to get the vibe of this woman. This is an astrologer known as Starheel, whose government name is Amy Tripp. So Amy Tripp is being sued by a guy who's a higher up at the Pentagon by the name of Anthony Tata. Okay. This is a confusing story. I need you to follow me here. Tata is suing her after he's admitted in a court file he had an affair with this woman, which is why she's turned anti-MAGA. And he broke it off with her, and she, let me quote here, lawsuit claims they met on the dating app Bumble in 2024 when Tata was seeking advice for a book he was writing with astrological elements. Said he was having trouble in his marriage at the time. And when he broke it off with her, she basically threatened to beat the shit out of his wife. So Tata...
That's not very, hippy-dippy new agey at all. But I feel like a lot of them are kind of like that. Like, at the end of the day, just, you get past this sort of, woo-woo facade, and it's just crazy shit back there. Quick to have affairs and throw hands and stalk people and shit like that. But also that dude, you said he met her on Bumble because he was writing a book that had astrological elements. Like, you don't get on Bumble for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bumble's for a specific thing. And you can research a book, and there are other avenues. Send a DM, reach out to a publicist, something like that. Fucking swipe right on somebody on Bumble. So,
all right. Before I forget, I need to thank one of our skewer, Honky Tonk Hard, who sent this story for me and launched me down this rabbit hole that I thoroughly enjoyed. So, to know who Tata is, okay, he's the current Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness. So he does personnel shit. He was also worked in the first Trump administration. He's a former brigadier general and a Fox News guy, and he writes military-themed novels. So he does write books. So that part of the story is true. He's also said a bunch of virulent anti-Muslim shit that he had. The reason he was up for a Senate confirmed position in 2020 in Trump's first administration. He did not get confirmed because all this stuff came to light. Where the mildest version of it is he called Barack Obama a terrorist leader and said he was part of the Muslim Brotherhood. So
that didn't get him fast tracked. You said that happened during the first Trump term.
Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, the first Trump won. People. Yeah, this is just 2020, but if
right.
Trump won, people did get fired from the White House and did not get confirmed for being racist.
Yeah,
right. That did happen. It doesn't happen anymore. So his version of the story is he was just minding his own business, looking for a psychic on Bumble, right? So. Fascinating guy. So let me read to you some of his book titles, okay? Sudden Threat, Rogue Threat, Hidden Threat, Mortal Threat. So basically,
The famous threat series. Game of threats.
yeah, exactly.
Shadow threats. Yeah.
Now currently wife threat is what he's going on doing now.
Yeah. Marital threat. Yeah. Domestic threat. It's I mean, the possibilities are endless. You just keep, he could write literally a million of those and never run out of titles, I feel like.
Yeah. I don't think so he does have a career to fall back on, but basically, he writes Tom Clancy novels for guys who think code breaking is gay because it involves math. Mm-hmm. So now I guess his next book will be Psychic Threat, which I guess will be about Jack Reacher with mind powers. If you're wondering about Amy Tripp, what her track record is as an astrologer and a psychic, she did correctly foresee the date on which Joe Biden would drop out of the 2024 presidential race. So she nailed that one. But she also subsequently predicted that Kamala Harris would become governor of California, and she's already announced that she wanting to seek the office. So she's also there's a fun she has a small niche cult following of day traders who follow her and do the opposite of her financial advice. Mm-hmm. So that's fun.
Yeah, I think I could get into that particular whatever you want to call that. People could do that for me too, and also it would be very lucrative, I think.
Your sports betting is famously.
Yeah, sports betting. Yeah, I could start a sports betting podcast where that's the whole idea. Is I give my sincere takes. Listeners do the opposite. They all get rich, and I get to monetize the podcast as it grows in popularity. Yeah, I don't know. I'll think about it. Feels foolproof to me because I only lose.
It's funny you talk about monetizing the podcast because you immediately lose all the money you made sports betting. So yeah.
Well, see, when you're in that position, you don't have to actually do it.
Right?
You
so the lawsuit, the lawsuit says took the breakup badly and began a campaign of harassment that featured hundreds of calls and text messages to Tata and his wife. During his conversation, Mrs. Tripp threatened that she would beat the shit out of John Doe's wife. They didn't use. Here's how stupid this all is. Tata's lawyers didn't put his name in the lawsuit, but they did put his date of confirmation and what agency he works for, and he was the only guy that fit that description remotely. So why keep it a secret when somebody figured it out in 10 seconds? Threatened to beat the shit out of John Doe's wife, that she was going to ruin both John Doe and John Doe's wife's lives. They needed to, quote, watch our backs, the lawsuit said. In another message, after Tata's wife pleaded to be left alone, Tripps is said to have told Tata in a message, quote, if your wife texts me again, she's going to be picking her teeth up. Pass it on. Yeah, wild psychic. Tripp also wanted $25,000 to keep the affair quiet, threatened to accuse him of publicly of an unspecified crime. So this poor guy just wanted to have a nice, quiet affair with an internet psychic. Well, him and his wife are in a tough spot, and then can't go back to his wife. That having his wife life threat.
I mean, look, it's one of the oldest maxims in the world of men, insensitive as it may be. They say, "Don't stick your dick in crazy." It's been it's been said since the dawn of time, and this guy's. But I mean, it kind of applies to her too, I guess. But she's not the one who was married and fucking in the Trump administration and stuff. So
he this affair happened probably, I'm guessing, during Biden's presidency. He just took office. He was Senate confirmed in July, so fairly recently. But so yeah, he is a fucking lunatic. You're right about that. He served in the Army for 28 years, where he had at least 3 affairs during his time in uniform, which is a court-martial offense, and he had kid out of wedlock. His ex-wife filed a complaint with the Office of the Inspector General with the Army to try to snitch on him because he had failed to help her pay child support for their daughter. This is not the child he had out of wedlock. This is the child he had in wedlock with his then wife. The Army let him off without any sort of punishment because he produced a document signed by a judge, I think, in North Carolina, where he used to be stationed at Fort Bragg, that this document said that he had actually helped his ex-wife with his daughter's medical bills. Now, his daughter shouldn't have medical bills because he's on Army health insurance, right? So something's weird not there. But anyway, you'll never guess, the document turned out to have been forged.
Right. And they proved all this, and this was all years ago, and he's still Under Secretary of Defense right now. I mean, again, not that I'm surprised by that, but I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they basically put together a team of the most blackmailable people on fucking Earth. like constantly. Like, I'll give Tata this. Like, she's trying to blackmail him. The correct move is to go public with it and sue her for it, as opposed to leaving it out there as ammunition to be used against him. But you only get put in this position by being a fucking scumbag in the first place.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do this next one?
Yeah, let's do it real quick.
Okay. Honorable mention for Daily Dumbass. People who want ICE officers unmasked because they don't understand it could really impact their side hustles.
Work for ICE. There is a sense of danger. A mask is a sense of security for them, and they feel as though, like, many of them own businesses. They do things outside of ICE. And it isn't the same world. It isn't something that, in a sense, right, we could be proud of our job, but people are not proud of us, and we are targeted.
Okay.
There are
So
officers.
they have businesses. Like, if people knew it was me behind this, like this skull face gator mask, it could really impact my Etsy store. That's the argument they're going with there.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know what to say. Like, these people put themselves in danger by wearing masks. I made that point before. They're not going to listen until some bad shit happens. But hopefully the worst thing that happens is they all lose their pensions and their agencies disbanded. But so, like, AI is the fun story here is, like, we bitch a lot about AI and the government using it for facial recognition and stuff. But some vigilante activist in Norway, I believe, has created his own AI that started to unmask ICE agents. The guy's name is, it's Netherlands, sorry. The guy's name is Dominic Skinner. He's an immigration activist, and he estimates he and a group of volunteers have publicly identified at least 20 ICE officials recorded wearing masks during arrest. He told Politico his experts are, quote, able to reveal a face using AI if they have 35% or more of the face visible. Now, senators and, like, a bunch of people at ICE and Homeland Security are getting really, really mad about this. Again, even though Skinner says 20 guys, right? 20 agents. Let me quote James Lankford, senator from Oklahoma. ICE agents don't deserve to be hunted online by activists using AI. Okay, but the rest of us are being hunted by AI all the time.
Right. Plus, I mean, they hunt people all day long as their job. They're not hunting me and you, but they are,
yeah.
people,
There's a Democratic senator by the name of Gary Peters from Michigan, co-sponsored a bill called the Visible Act to require ICE officials to clearly identify themselves. Quote, has serious concerns about the reliability, safety, and privacy implications of facial recognition tools, whether used by law enforcement or used by outside groups to identify agents. Now, what we have here is like an AI version of the "We Got Guns Too" bitch sort of thing. So, like, I don't really understand what cops think is going to happen next, but the idea that there can be all these highly advanced, like, AIs, the premise of which is that they are super cheap, right? That's the whole point of them, is they scrape all these databases with little or no effort. That civilians will also have them seems like an impossible dream to me.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure they'd like to restrict all of that to just, government fucking big brother bullshit, but it feels like that genie's out of the bottle. But also, I mean, this is what I say every time a version of this comes up. But, like, I just think, these ICE guys, it's like I just feel like if in doing your job, you can, like, you have the legitimate feeling, like, if people know that I'm doing this job, if people know that it's me doing this, it could ruin my life, then, like, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you just, whatever, people got to work and shit like that. But people like that, I feel like, there's all kinds of different avenues, you could take. Like, even like most cops don't cover their faces. They're hated by a lot of people, but, like, you can be a fascist asshole and, and in ways where you don't necessarily have to cover your face, and you'll be jerked off by some people at higher percentages than ICE agents are. I just feel like they should have other options available to them.
It feels like they immediately started wearing masks as soon as Trump retook office, and I don't know whose idea it was or how it spread so quickly, because not all of them do it, just most of them. But, like, the idea that their fear of their lives, like, if someone saw their face, they'd be able to find their house and come kill them and their family. That's not what they're afraid of. Not in the immediate anyway. What they're afraid of is their neighbors see a viral video of a guy getting beaten, see their face,
right?
And when you go to their kid's baseball game, no one wants to sit with them. They have to go sit off to the corner with the guy who beat child molestation charges. That's what they're fucking afraid of.
Yeah, right. Just the shame of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, like, like that. I feel as though I feel like I'd have to be in a real desperate situation to do something for money or for work that I, was that ashamed of people knowing that I did or what, So.
Yeah, me too. It's like oh, if everyone in your neighborhood, the people who've known you for years, you go to church with, will start thinking you're going to burn in hell because they see you on video doing your job. It feels like you might want to look for a different job.
Well, I don't know if I'd put it that way, just because that definitely also applies to me too. Not my neighborhood here, but like where I grew up, like people. 80+% of people in Atlanta absolutely think that I'm going to burn in hell for doing my job. So you know what? I guess I get where the ICE guys are coming from now that you put it that way.
I'm trying to think of a comedian who wore a mask. I can't think of one right now. This has to have been someone at some point. But the thing is, I can't figure out, all these different police agencies think they need AI to solve crimes, and I will grant them that they've gotten really, really bad at solving crimes, so maybe it's a good idea to have the computer do it for them, but, how will we solve crimes the computer doesn't do it for us? It's such a pathetic argument to make when you got, the murder closure rate's, barely 50% anymore. Mm-hmm. You watch these British detective shows where, guys spot a clue from a mile away and catch a murderer, and our guys will catch somebody standing over a body and not know who the fuck did it. It's just
right.
It's an amazing race to the bottom. So this mass gambit was always doomed to backfire because it's unprecedented. I could have guessed the public reaction would be bad, right? So they're making lists of immigrants, right? So anyway, what Skinner's doing, let me quote here, Skinner's AI-powered unmasking project is part of a broader online campaign, the ICE list, that has published the names of more than 100 ICE employees, from field agents to back office bureaucrats. It's one of several anti-ICE campaigns that have drawn attention from the media and Homeland Security officials. Do we think they'd be making lists of people if their identities were publicly known? They wouldn't need to make lists, and nobody would even think to do it, right? Mm-hmm. But you make it into a mystery to solve. Now you've got the online fucking Nation Resistance movement who's making revenge lists.
Right. Yeah, it's more like kind of Streisand effect-y type stuff, which they seem to fall backwards into all the time in this administration.
And here's your home state Senator Marsha Blackburn's got to get on this, of course. In response to efforts to identify ICE agents, Blackburn, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee on Privacy and Technology, introduced the Protecting Law Enforcement from Doxing Act in June, which would make it illegal to publish a federal officer's name with the intent to obstruct a criminal investigation. Illegal to publish a federal officer's name. I don't know how you improve the intent to obstruct a criminal investigation, but would that apply to newspapers who print the names of arresting officers?
Right. Yeah, I would. To me, I mean, I was going to say federal officers' names should just be public information, unless they're doing spy shit, undercover shit, or whatever that type of thing. But I don't know.
Right, but the regime we're falling ass backwards into, and I get really annoyed with internet arguments about what is and isn't doxing, because people seem to think that anyone knowing who they are, a certain type of person, think that's doxing, right? And I was like, we were kids, everyone's address was in the phone book.
Right, I know. Yeah, I think about that all the time because it's one of my sponsors on YouTube, and it's when it first came up, I was like, yeah, fuck, because you get these robocalls and stuff like that, or every now and then I'll get a random package from somebody I don't know, or a voicemail from somebody I don't know, and I'm like, who's a fan of mine, but it can sometimes it's slightly weird shit, and I'm like, well, how did this person even find me? And then Katie was like, well, you can Google you and find you or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? How does that happen? And it's well, there's data brokers. They do this. And one of my sponsors helps you get your name off those lists so you don't get robocalled and shit like that anymore. But at first I was like, this is so fucked up that they can even do this. And then one day I just remember it's but phone books used to just get thrown onto everybody's front porch and it had all that information. And you could opt out of the phone book. But right. But most people didn't, and it was just you could just look up anybody's name and address. I mean, in your community, but the world was a lot smaller back then too. People didn't generally get outside of their community. So yeah, that was one of those things. It's when it first occurred to me, within the past year that occurred to me, I was like, oh right. But I don't know, shit just seems, shittier and scarier and worse today. You just don't. It ain't the same world it used to be, Mark. You don't want people, knowing your stuff.
What? See, I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like even though crime's down, everyone's way more scared because we see all these viral videos of the few crimes that do happen, and like there's also like next door and ring cameras, all this shit. Keep people paranoid all the time. But it's probably fine that your address, but anyway, people are scared. They don't think about what they're advocating for. Like property tax records are public for a reason. That's your address, right? That's how it ends up in data brokers and stuff. Also, everyone who has your address, the billing companies, they sell them and stuff too. But like you want public property tax records to be public because you live in a democracy and you want to know what taxes other people are paying, what other people's houses are worth, so you're not getting fucked on your taxes or your property values, right?
Right.
So so when you advocate for police identities to be kept secret, what we want is like regular data protections for everybody. Not everybody else is fair game in every way possible, except unless you're doing violence on behalf of the state.
Right.
We're doing ass backwards data protection is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like they shouldn't be. They should not be protected more just because, like you said, they're the stormtroopers or whatever, so they get to wear the helmets, and nobody gets to know where they are, where they live, or anything. It's all bullshit. But
yeah,
I don't know.
So I want to quote here from Blackburn again. Those who oppose the rule of law are weaponizing generative AI against ICE agents. And she said in a statement, warning it could expose agents to threats from transnational criminal gangs like MS-13. Okay, MS-13 is not going to ICE agents' houses because ICE agents aren't rounding up MS-13. They're rounding up regular people. They can't find the actual gang members. Mm-hmm. And Blackburn, she has raised concerns in the past about government use of facial recognition, questioning the IRS's use of the technology in 2022 and criticizing the Chinese government surveillance capabilities. So the IRS and Chinese communists can't use facial recognition, but ICE can. It's good when they use it. So,
what did the IRS? What was the context of the IRS using it? Because I know it was in 2022. You said,
yeah,
which means that like Biden was the president at the time. So whatever it was that they did that she bitched about at the time, I just bet if they did it now, she wouldn't care. Is my immediate assumption, but obviously I don't know exactly what it was that.
Well, the IRS is sleeping with their feet up on their desk during the Trump administration.
Right.
So, but thinking about this is like these people only seem to care about stuff like privacy and data and AI when it affects them or someone they care about explicitly, right? So like we're getting
it's not just privacy and data and it's literally everything. Like it's everything in the world. Like that's how they feel about it. They don't care. They don't care. It's the whole lack of empathy thing. It's like it's real. They don't care about any one given issue unless it affects them directly, or like you said, one of the small handful of people that they actually do care about. Otherwise, they don't give a fuck about anybody else in any context or capacity.
So, just like someone please start making AI porn of ICE agents so we can get some fucking restrictions on that, please. All right, you want to talk about RFK, Health and Human Services, and the CDC? You want to do that?
Yes, yes, please.
All right, so a bunch of stuff going on at HHS and CDC. This is a couple weeks after someone shot hundreds of rounds at the CDC building in Atlanta and I think killed a cop. I think we got lucky that only one person was hurt. There's also been the CDC director just resigned or was fired, and a bunch of people resigned along with her. Let's watch some CBS News coverage of it if you got this one.
Another major change today at the CDC. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has now named his deputy, Jim O'Neill, as acting CDC director amid a tumultuous shakeup at the agency. O'Neill is set to take over after Director Dr. Susan Menars was fired this week, a position that she held only a few weeks after getting confirmed by the Senate. And O'Neill was actually there for her swearing-in ceremony in late July. We're learning that Dr. Menars was pushed out after clashing with Kennedy over vaccine policy. Her ousting led several other high-ranking CDC officials to resign in protest.
All right, you cut it back. All right, so 2 weeks ago, more than 750 employees at HHS went public with a letter they wrote to Kennedy and members of Congress that accused Kennedy of contributing to harassment and violence against government employees after the building was shot up, in which case RFK kind of blamed them for it. Basically said they were asking for it by giving advice during the pandemic. Okay. Whatever's going on with the vaccine policy, they're trying to. I don't really understand how much this is meaningful, but they're trying to change the guidance to say that you only get a COVID vaccine if you have a serious health condition, which doesn't make sense to me because of how herd immunity works or whatever. But anyway, the ramifications of it are CVS has already announced that they don't offer the annual vaccine in more than a dozen states, citing the current, quote, regulatory environment after the updated shots received approval for only high-risk groups. In general, we're talking about RFK. There's a couple big problems with it. RFK believes we don't need to fight germs or viruses. We just need healthy living and clean water and good nutrition. This is both untrue and also it's not what the Trump administration is doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like every news article about him starts talking about how, like, let me quote here from Axios. Kennedy's push to improve Americans' food supply has significant support from voters across the political spectrum. A whopping 87% of respondents in an Axios Ipsos survey conducted in June said the government should do more to make sure food is safe.
Right, but that question, it depends on how they ask that question, but that's misleading. Like, if you just ask any person, what should the government be doing more to make sure food is safe? I mean, who is going to say no to that? It's like, yes, of course, but like, when RFK's like, oh, we're making sure food is safe, it's fucking, Steak and Shake switching to beef tallow or whatever and shit like that, while I'm sure they've laid off all these people at the fucking FDA, or they're rolling back their authority and fucking curbing regulations and all that stuff, which will make, any and all the food that we eat less safe automatically. So it's...
Let me give you two current examples. They're currently in the middle of dialing back rules that keep forever chemicals out of drinking water, while the CDC/food safety surveillance, now they're only tracking 2 of the top 8 infections in our food supply. So why is the news telling us these people like RFK for cleaning up the food instead of telling these people that RFK is actively trying to jumpstart a listeria outbreak?
Right.
You're the news.
You just can't have... I don't know. You can't have both. You can't, like... slash spending and everything in these particular government agencies while also saying you're going to make, food safer somehow. Like, it's just, they are mutually exclusive. You can't do both of those things. But again, he just does all the, like, sizzle bullshit that they eat up about, like, we got to get these fucking, these dyes and this other, and these refined sugars and shit out of our whatever. And then they're like, yeah, that helps.
Speaking of dyes, I want to show you this viral video, because it kind of sums up the whole thing. Here's a Maha mom taking dyes off. Clip this video, Matt. Yeah, she's rinsing Skittles under a faucet to get the dye off of them. So she hands the white beige Skittles. She puts them back in the bag.
Because the dyes are the problem with fucking Skittles. By the way, like, I love Skittles, but I'm saying, like, the dyes to do that and then still give that big ass bag of Skittles to your toddlers is fucking hilarious. Like, the sugar and shit in the Skittles is what's gonna fuck them up or ruin their teeth and shit, not the goddamn dye. Like, if you don't want to give your kids Skittles at all, fine. They'll probably hate you when they get older, but fine. But, like, washing the color off and then still giving them to them is just so stupid.
If you went into, like, a summation of this whole fucking movement, how dumb Americans are about this bullshit, it's basically like, I want the government to make my candy healthy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's fucking candy. The dye is the fucking least of your concerns.
Yeah.
And I have no concerns. I'll eat candy. I don't give a fuck. But I'm saying, if you act like you give a fuck, it's not the dye you should be worried about. It's everything else about it.
So I had missed this, but RFK had a book come out a couple of years ago where he talked about his beliefs about how disease spreads. Okay, the abandonment of miasma theory, Kennedy bemoans, realigned health and medical institutions to the pharmaceutical paradigm that emphasized targeting particular germs with specific drugs rather than fortifying the immune system through healthy living, clean water, and good nutrition. According to Kennedy, germ theory gained popularity not because of the undisputed evidence supporting it, but by, quote, mimicking the traditional explanation for disease, demon possession, which gave it a leg up over miasma. I don't know where to begin with how fucking stupid all that is. For
I
one,
mean, neither. That's what I'm saying. This is like literal Middle Ages peasant shit that we make fun of people for believing back then. I feel like now, is he into the four humors too, or the four, yellow bile and black bile and red bile and bleeding and bloodletting and all that? Is he into all that dumb fucking shit too?
He would be if he was actually a believer in miasma theory, but even got that wrong. He's so fucking stupid. What he's describing is something closer to something called terrain theory. But anyway, like either way, he doesn't believe in germ theory. So the official position of the Secretary of Health and Human Services,
we can fucking see germs now,
right? The official position of the Secretary of Health and Human Services is that you do not need to wash your hands after you take a shit.
Right.
All right. So I had forgotten. I forgot exactly miasma theory is. It's like the belief that bad smells, stink,
yeah. I just read a book set during the Black Plague, like a novel, a fictional book, but it was set during the Black Plague, so that's the only reason I know some of this shit right now. But yes, the bad smells and stuff, right? So
I gotta admit, it's a decent proxy for germ theory because stuff that's infected tends to smell bad.
It's sort of right. They sort of cover that in the book a little bit about how like people that were actually smart at the time, like they started wearing masks and shit like that, as we all know, which did help, but they didn't have the reasoning exactly right. But like you said, it's like sort of close enough, like they put it together close enough for the time. But again, now we can see germs and we can see how they react to things and what results after exposure to them, and all this shit can be literally like scientifically proven now. So what basis can a person have, especially a person with that type of a platform, for acting like none of it's real, or he just doesn't believe it?
Yeah, I mean, I do I didn't know that. I always thought that the plague masks, with the bird beaks, I thought they were just decorative or something, or like they look vaguely satanic, but like the beaks were stuffed with like flower petals and stuff that smelled good because they thought I gotta admit, like they fell ass backwards into the correct thing to wear a mask during a plague.
Right.
It's just the stupidest mask possible.
Yeah.
So the lady got fired. She was only director of the CDC for like a month. She was, again, RFK's choice, confirmed by the Senate. Trump's selection, and they fired her after 3 weeks on the job because she wouldn't fucking go along with his vaccine bullshit. So instead, they replaced him with this guy named Jim O'Neill, who has no medical expertise. And here's a video of him speaking back in the day.
For me, the most potent and vivid. Should organ transplantation be encouraged or discouraged? In the free market, recipients of life-saving organ transplant or their insurers or other benefactors would be allowed to compensate their donors, creating incentive for more people to save more lives.
Okay. The new director of the CDC is pro selling your organs.
Yeah.
We talked about Javier Milei, he took power like a hardcore libertarian platform, and one of the things he's in favor of is like being able to sell your organs in the open market. So basically, we're waking up into a bathtub full of ice into a growth industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's literal like dystopian sci-fi shit, in this actual late stage capitalism world that we all live in. Like it just turns into that more and more every day.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. My objection to I don't really have like a principled objection. I just think it would say something really dark about society if people were selling their organs.
Yeah.
I just think it's like I'll probably sound like a fucking like a slippery slope conservative there, but like I think it's pretty bleak if someone's selling their kidney for money. Also, it's going to lead to selling other people's kidneys for money inevitably. So O'Neill is a tech guy. He's a tech investor. So you probably know what kind of guy he is if he's interested in going to the CDC. He's a Peter Thiel guy. Let me quote here from Dylan Livingston, who's a founder and CEO of something called the Alliance for Longevity Initiatives. Livingston's a member of a community that seeks to extend human lifespan. O'Neill is, quote, kind of one of us, he told me shortly before O'Neill was sworn in as deputy. O'Neill came over being deputy secretary of the HHS, so he's already a government-confirmed position before. And now he's in a position of great influence. The good news is O'Neill doesn't subscribe to Kennedy's most contentious beliefs and supports existing vaccine schedules to the degree that matters, what he cares about. That's the end of the good news, though, because I don't think he cares enough to actually protect that shit. O'Neill's close friends include the prominent longevity influencer Brian Johnson. You know Brian Johnson, right?
Is that the dude who, like, something about he trades blood with his son, or something about his son's dick or
Yeah.
something? Or what? What is it? It's
He
something
injects
weird.
his son's blood plasma to try to stay young. He also posts regular erection updates, or when he
Okay.
wakes up in the morning on social media.
Right.
And
But it's,
like
it's
if this,
his own dick. It's not. I conflated the two things. He gets
Right.
blood from his son and posts dick updates from himself.
yeah, Johnson said that O'Neill is, quote, a soft-spoken, thoughtful, and methodical guy. And he's also, of course, like I already said, O'Neill's friends with Peter Thiel. And so if this guy, Brian Johnson, says he's cool, we've got this picture, Matt. If you want just to capture Brian Johnson's whole vibe, there you go. That's the kind of dingus he is. Johnson desires to live until the year 2140. Do you want to guess why, Trey? Because that's the year of the final Bitcoin halving. He wants to live until the last Bitcoin splits. So
Okay.
many of the longevity community think that O'Neill could help bring attention to resources to their cause and make it easier for them to experiment with potential anti-aging drugs. Okay, that's his interest in being in the government service. He wants to make it more drug research more of a free-for-all, so a few tech billionaires can live to the final Bitcoin halving.
Yeah, well, easier for them to experiment with anti-aging drugs. You know that's going to turn into some wild shit, too, and some dark fucking,
Yeah.
basement, the bowels of some island compounds in the Pacific Northwest, or some fucking
Yeah.
homeless people come to under fucking fluorescent lights, and then clockwork orange shit starts happening to them, or whatever.
Buddy, you're barely exaggerating, but you're basically right. There's going to be no more vaccines, but this is great news if you've ever wanted to take horse semen in pill form. O'Neill spent a couple years as CEO of a company called SRF from 2019 to 2021 when his founder, Aubrey de Grey, who was a prominent figure in the longevity field, was removed following accusations of sexual harassment. So all these people want to live forever so they can sniff women's hair, basically. Just living the dream. When it comes to regulation, there are a lot of treatments that have been shown to slow aging in lab animals, but none of them have been found to successfully slow or reverse human aging.
Right.
And a lot of longevity enthusiasts think that drug regulations are to blame, and O'Neill's one of them. So he wants to support deregulation of new drugs and medical devices under the premise that, if it works on pigs, we should start shooting it into fucking people willy-nilly. Just fucking do drive-bys with fucking dart guns, tranq guns. The way this would work is he wants to lower the bar for drug approvals in the United States. We should, I'm quoting here, we should reform the FDA so it is approving drugs after their sponsors have demonstrated safety and let people start using them at their own risk. So the first round of drug trials is to make sure they don't kill people. Mm-hmm. Then you start doing stuff with control groups and whatever to see if they actually have the intended effects and side effects, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. He's saying after they pass they don't kill people phase, we should just fucking start passing them out and prove efficacy after they've been legalized.
Yeah, it's sort of like what people like Joe Rogan and them were arguing about the ivermectin and stuff like that during COVID, right? Meaning I mean, that had gone through the old process and was approved for the uses that it was, but basically they were just well, we should be able to use to see if it works. If some people think it works, we should be able to just use it.
That ivermectin is a good example, right? Because you had tons of people buying it at veterinary stores and using it off the books, right? So there was no doctor supervision, so people did not. There was no one keeping track of whether or not it worked.
Right.
So, how does O'Neill imagine this working when people are just taking drugs and no one's following up to see what they're doing, right? Mm-hmm. They're basically talking about replacing clinical trials with mass surveillance of patients. So it's a good thing he's friends with Peter Thiel, who owns all these different surveillance apps and shit.
Also, just there will be people talking about whatever given drug under this policy or under this system, the way that people talk about, to go back to the Rogan sphere, like Alpha Brain and various fitness supplements and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Where it's there will be people online talking about how it works, miracles or whatever. And some of those people will go viral or they'll have a following and whatnot. Whether any of it works or not, and it probably won't, it'll just be grifted off of, and none of that will be kept in check by any larger governing body. If this is how it works, if you're just relying on everybody you know what I'm saying. So it's just there's just a lot of problems with the idea of doing it that way.
And also, it's not like medicine was just invented.
Right.
We have a framework for doing this, but there's this myth that's taking hold that people keep saying that we're the most unhealthy country in the world. And I'm what the fuck are you talking about? Mm-hmm. No, we're not. Like, there's things aren't perfect. Like, we have a, our life expectancy isn't increasing as other advanced countries. We actually had a backslid some after COVID, but that's because of gun deaths, traffic deaths, alcoholism, pills, deaths of despair, suicides, and obesity. It's not stuff we don't understand. And it's not because our food is processed. Like, something I need people, like, I'm not sure where these morons got this idea, but like, the largest advances in human lifespan have been since we started taking vaccines and eating processed food.
Mm-hmm.
So what? I'm not saying that eating processed food is healthier. I'm saying it's obviously not what's fucking killing it, people. Right? Or we wouldn't live along with our grandparents.
Yeah, no, it's more of a cultural thing, I think, and also like America becoming fucking as successful as it did for over the past 100 years or whatever, regardless of whatever's happening now, but people just, the sort of land of plenty and shit for a lot of people for a long time, and and the sugar, all the sugar stuff, like the increasing prevalence of sugar in just everything, everywhere, all the time. But at the end of the day, you can live very healthily in America. You're not like forced to eat, triple quarter pounders with cheese all day or whatever, even though those things are available. Like, I'm not in favor of removing those things because I believe in, freedom and personal responsibility. So if you want a cheeseburger, you should be able to have a cheeseburger, and have a cheeseburger every now and then. Just also eat some fucking spinach and shit too, So I don't know what any of that means as far as what you're saying. I'm just saying that none of that even matters to me as long as they're doing all the deregulation bullshit at the same time, because it wipes all of it out. Like I said, I called it all sizzle earlier. They're like fucking the steak, throwing the steak away, and just hitting susceptible people with all the sizzle of you eat too many processed foods. You have too many dyes, too many of this shit. When it's like that, pales in comparison to the effects that will happen as a result of this other shit that they're doing, the negative effects that could happen. I mean, so it's bullshit regardless.
Right, but there seem to be a ton of people who do think their kids will live longer if they eat Skittles that they rinse the dye off of.
Right,
That's
which
pretty
is
much
crazy.
Yeah, right. So O'Neill is a straight up libertarian. I want to thank you for not noticing that the background of the speech we given earlier, because I want to talk about that now. O'Neill supported the libertarian idea of creating a new geographic zones, possibly at sea, in which residents can live by their own rules, including notably permissive regulatory regimes for new drugs and therapies. It's always seasteading and micronations.
Yeah, these people. Actually, I did notice that. I was like, "What the fuck is that about?" But now that makes sense, because all these tech bros are libertarians, and all the libertarians are obsessed with creating their own little like fiefdoms or nations or whatever, villages, communities that are libertarian utopias, and a couple of them have been attempted, right? And don't they?
Oh, bunch.
And they always just comically fail, just fall apart. Didn't one of them get like set upon by bears or something? Like that?
I don't know about the bear one.
I don't know if it's some kind of animals, because they weren't getting rid of they didn't have like sanitation figured out and shit, which is one of the things that, like your taxes and stuff pay for or something. And they were out in like the woods in New Hampshire. I might be making all this up, but because of that, they attracted bears. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, that I might be pulling that out of my ass, or I saw it on an episode of South Park or something, but I remember something about that. But anyway.
Are you telling me a libertarian paradise forgot to collect taxes to do stuff like trash collection in sewers?
Right, yeah.
All right, so here's O'Neill talking about his fantasy of a seasteading.
I think after I go through a lot of examples, I think I'll demonstrate why the healthiest societies in 2030 will most likely be on the sea.
All right. So my thing about this, every time it comes up, is you guys have money and resources. You could just do this. Right. You don't need us to for you guys to start your own island where you hunt each other for sport. Like, fucking leave us out of it.
Right.
I think O'Neill's got like $100 million or something. Like Peter Thiel's got billions. You guys can just. What's in your way? They need.
Just so you know, I looked it up, and it did happen. There's multiple The weird, wild, and illuminating story of how libertarian utopia was foiled by bears, and it was in and it was in New Hampshire, in fact. So I actually had most of that right. But yeah, this was this happened in the early 2000s, I guess. This is in 2004. A bunch of libertarians bought up a bunch of land in New Hampshire or something, got together and did away with all the ordinances and stuff, and it was, it's pretty much like I said. They didn't have sanitation and all that shit figured out, and like bears started showing up, and fucking it just all went to shit. So,
and then they had to call Department of Parks and Recreation to get rid of the bears. So they had to call. Of course, they had to resort to the government. So these guys, like another one of these things that they currently exist is called Prospero, which is in Honduras. It's in the middle of failing. It hasn't quite failed yet. But some of those longevity enthusiasts had set up shop in Prospero, which is a quote-unquote special economic zone on the island of Roatan with a libertarian approach to governance where residents are able to make their own suggestions for medical regulations. So just everybody can make their own medical regulations. I'm willing to bet the kidnapping trade around Roatan and Prospero is fucking thriving, buddy.
Yeah, especially once the organ market really gets fired up and going.
Yeah. So the craziest thing about this movement is the way they end up making their own conspiracy theories real, like by coming at stuff through a funhouse mirror. Like since I was a kid, and I don't think it's totally untrue. I just think it's overstated that people think that like pharma companies intentionally withhold cures for disease because it's more profitable to do the treatments.
That is literally a Chris Rock bit from, I think, Bigger and Blacker in 1998. It's like the cure ain't in the money ain't in the cure, the money's in the medicine. He was talking about, I think, AIDS at the time, because AIDS was still like a big thing. But now, now AIDS is essentially cured. Like, I love Chris Rock. He's my all-time favorite. But yeah,
it's a funny joke, and it's like I said, like they do like. There will be public statements where, like, people or companies will say, "We do not know if it's profitable to cure this disease." Right? Mm-hmm. They openly say that stuff. So, like I'm saying, it's not that it's based in nothing; it's that they misunderstand like the profit centers of actual pharma companies. I'm willing to bet that just profit-wise, at least short term, there's a bunch more money in not vaccinating people. Mm-hmm. Vaccines are cheap to make and cheap to buy for the most part, and like they're one-time doses. Pharma companies are not doing vaccines just for the money. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But they've sort of created, by taking away vaccines, which are the low stakes, easy to understand stuff that they do just because of government funding and research and support and requirements. They're pivoting to a world that's closer to the conspiracy theory. Like, let me read here, like, because we talked about the measles outbreak before. Just article's headline: "The race to find a measles treatment as infections surge." As the U.S. hits a 33-year high in measles infections, there's a new race to find a treatment for the disease. The problem is there still aren't enough cases to make it profitable to develop a treatment. One pharma company, quote, "is banking on a continuing decline in vaccination rates to fuel the need for measles treatments and in turn more investor interest. They need a bigger disease outbreak to get investors to invest in a treatment for measles. So we're not going to get one." Mm-hmm. They made it real.
Yeah, right.
So, on the one hand, we made the vaccine unavailable, so you should try to avoid exposure. On the other hand, if you want profit justifications for treatments, we need way more cases, so everybody needs to expose themselves and get measles. Mm-hmm. And the main story in that source I was just quoting from is definitely doing his part. He's a doctor. I'm going to put air quote around doctor, even though he is a doctor, because he was treating kids in Texas while he visibly had measles.
What? Why? Did the kids also have measles? Like, he was treating kids with measles, so he got measles and then kept treating kids that also had measles while he had it?
He said, like, so, let me quote here.
You know what I'm getting at? Like,
Dr. Ben Edwards appeared in a video posted March 31st by the anti-vaccine group Kennedy once led, called Children's Health Defense Fund. In it, Edwards appears wearing scrubs and talking with parents and children in a makeshift clinic he set up in Seminole, Texas, ground zero of the outbreak that has sickened hundreds of people and killed 3, including 2 children. Edwards is asked whether he had measles, and he responded yes. He said his infection started the day before the video was recorded. Yesterday was pretty achy, little mild fever. Spots came in the afternoon. Today I woke up feeling good, he said in the video. So measles is contagious 4 days before and 4 days after the rash appears. So he was definitely, if any of those kids or people he was around did not have measles, he fucking gave it to them. Oh, God. And this is a guy, again, works for the organization Kennedy used to be in charge of. So, yeah, the woo-woo people said for years that Big Pharma was holding back a cancer cure because treatment was more profitable, and they went and created those conditions through their own death drive fucking more stupid idiocy. Another thing, real quick, Kennedy's promoted is stuff called peptides. Peptides are short proteins. They come in the form of hormones such as, like, creatine and collagen. This happened recently. Some women went to a longevity festival in Las Vegas. A Las Vegas festival promised ways to cheat death. 2 attendees left fighting
kind of
for
an
their lives.
ironic place for a longevity festival, Las Vegas. Like, it's not exactly a blue zone, Las Vegas.
Yeah, these 2 women who want to live forever and do not trust stuff that the doctors want to inject you with, went to a booth at a conference in Vegas and let a guy inject them with peptides. Mm-hmm. He was an LA physician who specializes in, quote, age reversal therapies, and who does not have permission to practice medicine or dispense prescriptions in Nevada. The doctor's name is Kent Holtorth. He said he was cooperating with the investigation. He said, but almost assuredly it will come out that it was not the peptides. He said he became convinced the peptides weren't the cause of the severe reactions after plugging everything he knows about the incident into an artificial intelligence app, which he said gave him a 57-page report that basically says it is impossible it was the peptides. He refused to comment on what the report attributed the illnesses to, so too long to read. The locally unlicensed doctor who injected them with peptides, after which they fell deathly ill, says it wasn't the peptides because he asked the AI, and the AI said it wasn't the peptides.
Yep.
The aristocrats.
RFK Jr.'s America, baby. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man. I don't know. It's fucking bananas, but at least we're just getting started.
This fucking woman in Florida miscarried after she drank raw milk, and she's suing the farm for it, even though the bottle said not for human consumption. Everyone has clearly told her to only drink pasteurized milk. And I feel sorry this lady lost her. Yeah.
There's so many things that's like these people don't. I don't know. We've gotten too far removed from all these massive advances that were necessary for humanity and society that improved our lives. Do you know what I mean? Like stuff like a lot of these regulations or unions, but also like pasteurization. Like, why do you think they even started doing that in the fucking first place? Like, if raw milk was better and healthier for everybody, they wouldn't have fucked with it. They wouldn't have put all that time and effort and resources into figuring out how to make it stop making people sick all the fucking time, which they figured out, and it was a miracle. They probably won a fucking Nobel Prize for it 80 years ago or whatever. And now people are they've somehow convinced themselves that that was done with that those people who came up with pasteurization all those many years ago wanted to make society complacent and gay, like what the fuck. Anyway,
I feel like if we had to pick one basic rule that would improve society, like just one wish, one thing, it'd be that, like, because Americans are so movie brained and TV brained, that every historical show has to be vividly accurate. Meaning, if you're going to make a Western, there needs to be shit and blood running in the streets, and every now and then an 8-year-old child has to randomly die.
Right.
Because people get their understanding of the world from like stuff like that. They see people happily riding a horse and think that's a world they want to return to.
Right.
And it drives me fucking insane.
Right. Yeah. No, the past was a fucking nightmare. But anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. And go to TreyCrowder.com. Check out my upcoming tour dates. Check out Trash Daddy, my special. There's a link to it on there as well. Listen to Good Skews, producer Matt's new audio exclusive side project, and support us on Patreon. Go to weeklyskews.com/more, or just search for my name on Patreon. $5 a month, 2 full-length bonus episodes. Get some more Skews in your life. Either way, if you keep watching on Tuesdays, we'll keep coming back. Trump Death Watch 2025 starts today. All right, I'm kidding. We'll see y'all next time. Love you. Bye.
See you.